This is a recap for Monday, April 26th. We worked on CAMI week 25. And so we did page 2, and it says write a fraction in simplest form that has a value between the 2%. So 75% and 78%, something that comes between those two is 77%. And I chose that because when I, excuse me, change this to a fraction, which is 77 over 100, I know I won't have to simplify it because 77 is 7 times 11, and 100 is 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. That's 4 times 25. And there are no similarities between, there's no common factors between this right here, 7 times 11, and 2 times 2 times 5 times 5. So I know that it can't be simplified. So 7 d7 100ths is between 75% and 80%, and it's simplified. Write a percent that has value between the two decimals. Well, if I know that 45 hundredths, so if I add anything other than 0 to this 4, then it gets closer to 0.5 or 5 hundredths. So if I put a 5 there, for example, that is, we draw it on a number line. So here is 0.4, and here is 0.5, and halfway in between is 0.45. And so that is between 4 hundredths and 5 hundredths, and so that needs to be changed to a percent, which is 45%. Write a decimal. Now we're going to write a decimal that has a value between the two fractions. So if I was to make a number line, start at 0, put a 1 there, cut it in half, and then 1/3. One thing I could do is I could just make these sixths. So this would be 3/6, and this would be 2/6. 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 1 is 2. So that didn't really help me to get in between. So I could go to 12ths. This would be 6/12, and this would be 4/12. And look what happens. Look what opened up in between here. Was a 5/12. So that's in between. So now all we need to do is make that into a fraction. So if we do 5 divided by 12, that's going to turn that into a fraction. And it goes in 0, and 4, 48, 1, with 8 left over, and let's see, that would go in there, 6, and I think that 6 would just keep repeating. 72, 8, so the 6 just keeps going. So a decimal that could go in between would be 0.41. It's definitely bigger than 1/3 and less than, and I could say 6 repeating, or we could just say 0.4. That's a decimal that would definitely be in between there, so it'd be about there. So let's just say 0.4. All right. On this one, it said to shade 1/6 of it red, 25% blue, and the rest of it yellow. So let's start with figuring out what 25% of this. So there's 24 of these altogether. So 25% of 24 is 25 over 100. That's the percent part, equals n over 24. So we could simplify this to 1/4. 25 out of 100 is the same as 1 out of 4. And we can look for a multiplier. 4 times 6. So that's times 6 is 24, so we're going to do 1 times 6. So 6. So that tells me that I'm going to shade 6 of them blue. So I'm going to get my larger pen, turn it blue, and we'll get 6 of these. All right, now we have to figure out what 1/6 of 24 is. So we can make those ones red. So let's go back here, we'll go red. So 1/6 of 24. Of means multiplication. So 1/6 times 24 is equal to 24/6, and that's equal to 4. So I'm going to make my pen a little bit bigger. It's really important to understand that of means multiplication. So we'll just do 4 of these like this. So there is 1/6 of it. And now let's figure out what the rest of it is. So, well, the rest of it is going to be 14 out of the 24. And so that is 7/12. And if I do 7 divided by 12, grab a calculator, I get 0.85, and then the 3 just keeps going. So it is 85 1/3%. We can have a fraction in our percent. Or we could say 85.3 repeating percent. And that's the part that is yellow. And let's see if that makes sense. Does it seem like about 85% of it? I think it's actually, I'm going to double check this because I think I got my numbers wrong because that seems too big. So let me grab my calculator. I think it was, thought I had it memorized, but I think I made an error because it just didn't seem like, when I do yellow here, it definitely does not seem like 85%. So I'm going to find my error. And this is a really good example of how you catch errors. You think about it and you just think, does this seem like 80% or 85.33%? And maybe, but I'm going to double check it by actually doing the 7 divided by 12. So 7 divided by 12, and it's, no, I flip-flop the 5 and the 8, and what it is 0. Let's go red, like this, and it's 0.5833, and that repeats. So it wasn't that, and it's not that or that. Let's write it up here. It's 80, I said it again, 58 1/3%, and that looks much more like it, and 58.3 repeating percent. And we're supposed to write it as a fraction as well, or a decimal, and there's the decimal right there. All right, and I said in class today that I would do problem number 13 in the recap. So a house blueprint has a scale of 1 inch to 2 feet. The family room has an actual length of 16 feet. So the 16 goes right here because this is actual. So actual right here as a denominator, and we'll call it the model or the sketch or the blueprint right there. So 1 inch represents 2 feet. So what is the length of the family room? I just put an n right there, and cross products are equal to each other. 2 times n is equal to 1 times 16. 2 times n is equal to 16. We divide it by 2, and n is equal to 8. And so it would be 8. The answer to A, see if this makes sense, is 8 inches. So a house blueprint has a scale of 1 inch is 2 feet. Family room has an actual length of 16 feet. You need 1 inch for every 2 feet. So yeah, 8 inches would give us 16 feet. What percent of the length of the actual room is the length of the family room on the blueprint? Interesting. We're going to compare 1 inch and see what percent that is to 2 feet. What percent of the length of the actual family room is the length of the room on the blueprint? So we can just use this right here. We just can use the scale. So 1 inch to 24 inches is what we need, so that we're comparing the same units, is equal to what percent? So 24 times n is equal to 100 times 1. So that's just 100, so we're going to divide by 24, divide by 24. So 100 divided by 24 is, n is equal to 4.16, and that repeats. So it's about a little over 4% of the actual. So if we had, let's think about this just for a moment. If we had a wall on our blueprint that was 100 feet long, it would take, on a drawing, just a little over 4 feet to make that. See if that makes sense. Be about 48 inches. So when we have a typical house that is, typically houses are like, what was this room, 16 feet? So 16 feet, and 4% of 16 is, let's see, 0.04 times 16 is 0.64 of a foot times 12 is, yeah, so that is about right. Okay, so that, you know what, I'm going to go to Desmos also. So we're going to go to Desmos and take a look at that, since we worked on that a little bit today. So let's go to so 1/2 is 0.5, and that is 50%. And 75% is 75 hundredths, which is 75 hundredths, or equal to 3/4. And 2/5 is 0.4, 4/10, or 40 out of 100. So there's the answer for that one. This is 7%, and this is 35 out of 100, and 5 goes into both of those, and that's 7/20. 3/5 is 0.6. What fraction of the shape is shaded? Let's count this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And there's 5/8. If I do 5 divided by 8, I get 0.625, so 62.5%. That seems about right. We're going to shade in 4/10. So there are 10, so that means that we're going to shade in 4 of those. See if I can make this any bigger. There we go. So 4 of the 10 is 4/10. 4 to 10 is the same as 40%. All right, let's go to the next one. Percentage shaded is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of 10. So that's 60%. And let's see, so 85% is 0.85. 85 over 100. 5 goes into both of these. Let's see. 85 divided by 5 is 17. So this is 17/20. All right, this is 12%. And 12/100. We can cut both those into 4 parts. It would be 3/25. And we're going to multiply 23 times 4. 23 times 4 is equal to 92. So this is 0.92 and 92%. Convert 124 thousandths to a fraction. All right, 124 over 1,000. I'm going to divide 124 by 2, and I get 62/500ths. Divided by 2 again, I get 31 over 250, and I know that's as simple as it gets because 31 is a prime number. 31/250ths. And I'm double checking by doing 31 divided by 250, and I get the same answer. All right, if I just, on my calculator, do 13 divided by 20, 13 divided by 20, I get 0.05, 5/100ths. That's the decimal, it's 5%. And I'm going to do 17 divided by 40. Divided by 40, that's equal to 0.425, and that simplifies, or that changes as a percentage to 42.5%. And last one, just go ahead and have fun coloring this in, and then put over here what percentage you estimate you colored in each color. And that is a recap for Monday, April 26th.